and a total all-time payout of $204 million from Spotify for all the streams.
That's wild. That's crazy.
And that's why he needs to be independent.
He lost the battle not because he got out-rapped, in my opinion. Not Like Us was just a big record. It wasn't even a good diss record. It was just a big record, and that's why he lost. But through all that, I think comes this play, which I think is going to change the music game in a lot of ways, which is crazy.
Go. How many Grammys does Drake have? She's like, I don't know. I was like, Google. She's like, 5 Grammys for Drake? That's crazy. I was like, how many does Kendrick have? She's like, 3. I'm like, Google it. She's like, 7? And I'm like, bro, so it's fake.
So I don't think he wasted a bar on this whole album. And I think every line was thought of and calculated, which is why I think this album is so great.
I think it's timeless, man. I think we don't know how great it is yet. Everyone said he wasn't rapping. His rapping skills are gone. He's washed. He's cooked. He's 40 years old. Kendrick, bodied him. Can't do it anymore. And he drops a whole album of rap.
I think this is the best he's ever rapped, man. I think this can sit as one of the top projects for me because, again, it's just the Drake that I like the most.
To the Can't Teach Taste podcast with your boy Mac Annan and your boy Todd Tomlinson. It's been a pretty cold week out here, man, with the ICEMAN release.
It has, man.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. We were gonna get into this album, but I love it. I love the album. We're gonna dive into it, but it was everything I was hoping it would be. Honestly, it's just him rapping. And just for the record, you can't call me or you Drake stands just because I think we're all in agreement that the other 2 albums are not it. Didn't enjoy either one of the other ones, but ICEMAN itself is, I think, far and away right now the rap album of the year, and it was fire, man. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, when the album dropped, obviously we were busy with work, and I went and I didn't listen to ICEMAN. I flipped through the other 2. I was so hyped when I knew that it was 3. I was like, cool, this is gonna be dope. And you flip through it. I think I spent 30 seconds on each one and realized like this is not for me. Like this is terrible. Same. Obviously, at the time, we didn't know that he was dropping the last 3 albums to get out of his deal with UMG, which we're going to talk about. What I will say though is I listened to it on the way up to Big Bear, and I actually listened through each of the 2 albums. It was painful, to be honest. Like there was probably like 2 songs. Maybe.
Yeah, there are a couple songs. I like a couple of songs, but
he had a couple samples where I like had to Google like, where is this from? I don't know where this is from. This is fire. And obviously, like it was one of the Sexy Red songs has the dopest sample of any of the 3 albums. But I can't listen to a Sexy Red song to save my life. And I'll be honest too, the Molly Santana song, the Future song, I almost think. I don't know. Part of me is like, did Drake do this on purpose to make, even though it's streaming the most, I think it's the worst song on the album by far. I deleted it. So now there's no skips. There's one skip on ICEMAN. Now there's no skips. And honestly, like Drake over auto-tuned it, but Molly Santana is just, I mean, I don't know why he does that, where he puts somebody on that, like, no business being on the album.
You know what it is? Like the youth likes her. Like I'm so out of touch, like with Playboy Cardi. Maybe I'm just getting old, like people like that. I think it's just Sexy Red, awful. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old, but the youth, and they like that type of music, and Molly Santana is big. I don't know why he does it either, because to me it doesn't fit. I hated that feature too. Could have done without it. She didn't add anything to that record. It was bad. Sexy Red's terrible. Yeet, like he's not on the album, but people like that, I don't know. Like maybe we're just getting old, bro. But that's what the young people like, and maybe I think Drake is trying to continue to stay kind of in that lane and stay relevant. But I would agree. Those are some of the head scratchers for me when Drake does stuff like that. I mean, there's so many other people you could have got on the album aside from Molly Santana. But yeah, the most streamed song might tell you something, but for the rest of the album, I thought it was pretty damn flawless, honestly.
Yeah, well, real quick, I meant to mention, shout out Big Face Coffee. Shout out Jimmy Buckets. If you haven't tried it, the Santa Maria blend the Santa Barbara blend is fire. And I just got the Killanova, which is like a kind of limited release one. We try to order them when they come out. You can get them whole bean or you can get them crushed up. They're fire. Definitely give it a shot for your home coffee. I mean, it'll change the game. Shout out Big Face. But yeah, so I want to get into a little bit of the economics so we can help people understand why it's so important that he got out of his deal. Before that, though, if anyone heard the leaks, if you want the leaks, hit us up because we have them. Yeah. We have them. Only one leak made the album out of the 6 that I got, which kind of fucked me up because I got a text and it's just 3 Drake songs. And I'm like, are these on the album? And this is like, I don't know, a day before. It was Wednesday night. The album came out Thursday night at midnight. Are these on the album? And it just said enjoy. Nothing. No,
you got 6? You only sent me 3.
Yeah. No, I sent you 4. Maybe. Did I not send you the last 3? The other 2, 2 of them, and I'll say only one made the album, but maybe 2 of the other ones are on there because they're just auto-tuned garbage. I'll send them to you. Did I send you Hasta La Vista?
No, we got Supermax though, which is a fire track, and it sounds like it wasn't even completely done, but he's got to put that on something because that track is fire.
Supermax, fire. 3 p.m. in New Orleans, fire. 1 a.m. in Albany, of course, is the best release, but that's on the album.
That's on the album.
Remember, Hasta La Vista goes hard, man.
You said that to me, bro. You're holding out.
Right when we get off, it's fire, and then I'll send you the 2 auto-tune ones. I got to dig through my texts. I didn't even save them. They're so bad. But anyway, so we could speculate all day on whether or not he released them, or if the album or if the label was trying to do something goofy. They only put one of the songs out there. I wonder if he released Make Them Remember because it has all the Brown bars on it and he got all the posts and everything leading up to the album. So like people were already hyped before the album dropped. Like you could read the 23andMe bar, is on there. So, but let's get into the economics, right? So just as a kind of like, preface this here, Apple pays anywhere from $6,000 to $7,000 per million streams. Right. And it depends on if you have like their Dolby Digital mastered file or whatever, they'll pay you extra. Spotify doesn't care about that. They pay you $3,000 per million. So one thing that people don't know is everyone in music, and they'll say if you're in music, you have to use Spotify. And my response is, why would you use something that pays you half? But they all do it. Everyone does it. So they can say they don't like the system or they don't like, the UMG and all these, they're all in bed with the labels. Right? Spotify is worth more than the 4 majors combined, but they all use Spotify. Spotify will give you real statistics. So if you use Spotify, you can see how many streams each song has, which is why I can give you some of the data that I'm going to give you. With Apple, you can only see it if you're the label or you're the artist. So like there's an app for Spotify that'll show you every song, every release. Like when a song drops, if it's only one song or one album, it'll tell you how many streams in real time. Like the thing shakes every time somebody listens to it, like it vibrates. So I'm sure Drake's phone dies. Yeah. So it'll give you real-time data for a week. And then after that, it updates once a day. I mean, you can get demographics on sex, on age, on location. You could see, for example, this song streams the most in Sydney, Australia, or this song streams the most in Miami, Florida, or whatever. You can see it down to that, which obviously if you're a smaller artist and you're trying to plan a tour, you should sort of have a good idea of where you're going to be able to sell tickets. And then they have super listeners. If they listen to X amount of their percentage, they're a super listener. So if you have super listeners in places, then obviously So I'm going to give you some statistics on the Habibti Iceman Maid of Honor. First of all, so this is why it's important that he goes independent. And if you have any questions, reach out. I can break it down too much. I don't want to bore everyone to death, but when people were like, oh, he dropped these 3 albums, 2 of them are trash, and then you actually dig into it, it makes sense. So the first day, if you combined all the streams in the first 24 hours of those 3 albums, did 200 million streams. That's $600,000 that would be paid to him and not UMG just off Spotify alone, which is insane. Then, I try to Google what percentage of Drake's streams come from Spotify, because generally, and this isn't a fact, but generally Apple Music is not used outside of the US for the most part. And Spotify is really not used a ton in the US. So mostly if you have a lot of US streams, it's Apple, right?
Okay. Got it. So Apple is more prevalent in the United States than Spotify.
Correct. And then OUS is Spotify. So you know, obviously there's more value in your streams in the United States if you're getting paid, you know, double by Apple. But anyways, so I read online that Drake, they assume that Drake has more Apple streams just based on his listening demographic. Obviously, he has a ton of OUS support, but a lot of US support. So if he made 600K in the first day to UMG off Spotify, you can assume he made at least that on Apple. So you're talking $1 million a day just for streaming, which if you're an independent artist and you're doing, you know, 5,000 streams a day, like it's going to take you forever to make any money. So there's no money in streaming unless you're like this. And so he's one of the only people that could break the music industry because they have it set up now where you can't recoup, and we could go through that. But, you know, he's already to the point where he doesn't need to buy streams, which they probably do, but he doesn't need to buy streams. Everyone knows who he is. You can even see on the apps, like, where your streams come from. Is it from someone's playlist? Are they adding it? So like Todd Tomlinson adds ICEMAN to his phone and he streams it, which is what I do. You know, you'll see that it comes from a user's playlist. But where a lot of people find music are these playlists that Apple and Spotify put out. And that's the things that the labels push, right? So it'll be, you know, release radar on Spotify. I think everything goes on that. But like if you're a beast, you'll have like all the hip hop playlists, all the international playlists, all these things that people don't necessarily, obviously everyone knows who Drake is, but maybe they'll find songs that they listened to the first time they didn't like and they hear it come up. So the labels push those. So that's huge. So when you deliver your album 3 to 4 weeks ahead of time, the labels or the distros or whatever you're doing are pushing playlisting, and they're pushing for you to be prominent on all of these places where people could find you. He doesn't probably need that, because if we look at, you know, just that, right? He did ICEMAN itself did 462 million streams in the first week just on Spotify. So it's almost $1.5 million. So he makes 1.5 million week one. He's making $3 million minimum when you include Apple. And that doesn't include YouTube or, you know, Tidal. Tidal pays way more, but nobody uses it. Yeah. And all of these other things. So maybe he made $4 million in week one just on stream. So that's why it's important that he gets out. A little more data before we get into the album. If you look at his top 5 albums, well, real quick also, God's Plan, all-time 3 billion streams, $9 million from Spotify alone has been paid out just for God's Plan, and that doesn't include Apple. So he's probably at $20 million just off that song, which, you know, obviously he has to pay producers, and, you know, he does maybe get all of it. Maybe there's some percentage that goes to, you know, the production and stuff. But for the most part, I mean, he could make that song in an hour, right? Obviously, there's some production, mixing, mastering goes in. They kick him the demos. He turn my volume up, turn this up, change this, you know, get this sample a little higher, put a little skip in the beat here, and you go, right? So it's a week later, the song's done. So that's $20 million, right? So if you go into Views, Scorpion, More Life, Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, without getting too granular, anywhere from 8,000 to 20,000 a day off Spotify for him for each individual album, or $55,000 a day for those top 5 albums currently, and a total all-time payout of $204 million from Spotify for all the streams. So, I mean,
just Spotify. That's wild. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And that's why he needs to be independent, because he could make all this money. He doesn't need to tour. He's toured more than anyone. He's got a crazy battery where he can just tour and tour and tour. I mean, you could read the stats on that. That's where most of the artists make their money, is touring,
right?
Or shows, or private performances. I mean, he probably demands $1.5 to $2 million for a 30-minute set somewhere. You know, you want to book him to come to your birthday party, it's got to be 1.5 or 2. It has to be. And he may just say no because he doesn't want to, because he doesn't have to. Right. But so now they're saying there's a $2 billion deal on the table, which is, you know, we can get into these on the table with 21, but from private equity, where they're going to be the label, right? Which probably means he has full control. They're going to front the money. He's going to buy the posts and the streams and whatever he wants, and he'll own the music, which my guess, that means they'll recoup the $2 billion, which obviously based on this data, they're going to recoup it pretty quick. And my guess is they get revenue share for a certain amount. Maybe if they put in 2, they get to stick around until they get 3 or 3.5 or 4, and then it all diverts to him because he has that power. Most of them don't do that. Like in a deal where, you know, they put up $2 million for you, you make the album, 5 years later, they get their $2 million back, then you start splitting it. Like you get a split of that, but they own it. Like, you're not getting those masters back, and he will. So he could get $2 billion up front and then own his masters, which is, I mean, essentially unheard of. And it'll be like, you remember when was it Russ? No, Patrick Mahomes got the 10-year, $250 million deal, fully guaranteed. And everyone in the NFL is pissed off because he essentially broke the fact that you're going to have a fully guaranteed contract. And that's what Drake would have at $2 billion, man.
That's the move. You think that's the move? Do you think that's the move then, the private equity? I mean, if he doesn't go with PE, I guess what's the other play for him?
I mean, he could just upload it on his own, like DistroKid, $99 a year. He has all the plugs to do all the stuff. But I mean, if someone's willing to give you $2 billion,
you take it. You'd think.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. But he will be able to have control. Nobody will tell him what to do. You know, when he has, you know, whether Janice is a marketing person or whatever they're saying, UMG doesn't have to listen to that. Private equity generally, you know, maybe there's really regulated spaces that they want to be in and they want to control. But if you're calling someone like him with this kind of idea, it's kind of like, hey, we just want to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. You know, do your thing. Obviously, you know the recipe.
And it's interesting, like this whole thing of Drake now taking on the whole industry and maybe changing the game in that regard all came from this battle, which people are saying, you know, he lost. And look, he lost the battle not because he got out-rapped, in my opinion. I think it was just he got outmaneuvered in the battle. And you get all that. Not Like Us was just a big record. It wasn't even a good diss record. It's just a big record, and that's why he lost. But through all that, I think comes this play, which I think is going to change the music game in a lot of ways, which is crazy. It's him turning that into something as big as this, I think it's groundbreaking for music. And for him, if you look at what ICEMAN is doing, like the whole battle was a small chink in the armor, dude. Like the streams, that, you know, everything, like it didn't affect him. It didn't affect him. The music's great. The rapping is great. You know, he delivered on this, and it's just so interesting how everything played out over the last 2 years. And I don't know, man, like it's almost like he's just unbeatable from that standpoint. He's too big of an artist for that to affect him, man. So it'll be real interesting to see what he does. And, you know, you got to imagine too, they probably held I think he made a lot of music over the last 2 years. I think he's got a lot of more records in the clip, saving it for, you know, when he decides to do his own thing. But
there's so many things I'm thinking right now. One, I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff about Michael Jackson that's coming up, because obviously, like, he was fighting the labels. He was buying everyone's masters. He was essentially bucking the system. And what did they do during that negotiation is they brought up the PDF stuff, which is essentially what they dropped on Drake, right? And obviously there wasn't any, you know, like there's no factual basis around that, or else we know, right? We know.
Insane. It's stupid.
They were pushing it. Spotify and UMG cut a deal where Spotify would pay UMG less, then Spotify would push Not Like Us so that people would listen to it, and they were paying not 3,000, maybe 1,500. So they were putting it on playlists and they were forcing it down people's throats. You know, your boy, the doorman, is involved, and he puts him in the Super Bowl, right? It's like, and I love Jay, but he puts him in the Super Bowl, which makes no sense. Also, you know, I was talking to wifey, and she's just like, I'm tired of you talking about that. I don't want to hear about this anymore. Like, obviously she loves the album. She was like, it can't be that manufactured. I go, how many Grammys does Drake have? She's like, I don't know. I was like, Google it. She's like, 5 Grammys for Drake? That's crazy. I was like, how many does Kendrick have? She's like, 3. I'm like, Google it.
Yeah.
She's like, 7?
Yeah,
and I'm like, bro, so it's fake. And what people don't know, and I just saw that Drake said he's not submitting.
I saw that too.
So here's the way it works. You're not just automatically.
Yeah, explain this because I raised this interesting. It's interesting, and I didn't know this either. But you have to actually submit the album in order for it to get consideration for a Grammy. But yeah,
you submit songs, right? Mm-hmm. You submit songs. You write. There's like quotes from the artist or something that go in there. I haven't done it in like a year and a half or 2. But you can't submit like in the calendar year. Maybe it's like, let's call it June to May or whatever. So you can, anything released, you could submit, and you submit it. You submit the music, and there's a bunch of judges. Who they are, I don't know. They just listen to the music and decide. So it has nothing to do with streams. It has nothing to do with cultural relevance. Like, what was the dude, the rapper that won the Grammy for Best Rap Album a couple years ago that I like literally never heard of? You know, so
I don't even know.
yeah,
I
so
haven't heard of
he's
him
like
either.
40
Yeah.
years old. He won a Grammy, right? So you submit it, and like, so now obviously Eminem was the first one that ever spoke out against the Grammys, right? He refused to go. He said he didn't care. He rapped about it. Drake the same, and it's fabricated, and none of it's real. And so you submit it, and you pay like $200, $150, $250 a song, right? And they'll consider you, but you don't find out what happens. You get no feedback. You have no idea, and then you just find out at the award show. So obviously that's fake. You know, you could look at DMX where he talks about how Jay-Z essentially, once DMX got on, he's blowing up. You know, they pick the new single for his album, they shoot the video, and they're like, we're not releasing that. And they kind of like kick him off the label. And they would say Jay-Z doesn't want competition, but he puts Kendrick Lamar in, who has more Grammys than him, but it's not competition. There isn't anyone in their right mind. Well, there might be people now, but generally that should not say Kendrick Lamar is better than Jay. You can't say that, right? So
No.
you know, that's what he did. And that's the reality. So, you know, they try to do the PDF thing, the A minor bar, which I guess it's creative, it's catchy. The mustard
clever.
beat is insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great beat, man. It's a catchy tune. But when you think of diss records, that's what I talk about. He won the battle because his strategy was better, and that was the biggest song. It was not even close to being the biggest diss record in that whole battle. To me, the best diss record was Family Matters. Euphoria was a better diss song than Not Like Us, but Not Like Us was so big with the beat and the catchiness. There aren't great bars at all in there. You know, it's not, but the PDF stuff, the A minor, it was just a big record. And when you hear the record on every single corner, every single radio station, you know, it was what it was. So, you know, to your point, I mean, I think that's why it went that way. But you know, when you think about Grammys, it's a bunch of people in suits that don't, to your point, don't know the cultural impact or relevance of an album. Like, who are these people voting? You know what I mean? Like, for each genre, there should be a committee for that genre specifically that understands the genre that can vote, not just the Grammy committee, right? So that's why the Grammys don't matter. They used to be the biggest thing. I remember I used to always think, if, you know, the Grammys, like, who's going to win the Grammy? But now it's almost laughable. And to think that Kendrick has 27 Grammys to Drake's
over 5 times
is just, it's ridiculous. And not like, look, and I'm not even a Kendrick hater. I actually like some of Kendrick's music. I think ICEMAN is way better than GNX, though. I don't think it's even close, honestly. But I'm not a Kendrick hater. I'm not. I like Drake more because sonically, and I just think he's better. But that big of a disparity when you think of what Drake has done, honestly, for the genre and the culture, whether you like it or not, is insane. And that's why, you know, the Grammys don't mean as much as they used to.
Well, and to your point, like, I'm not a Kendrick hater at all. Before this beef happened, I wouldn't even have thought about Kendrick. Yeah, I have a couple songs that I like by Kendrick. You know, not a lot, but a couple. Not really my vibe. You know, Eminem's sort of in the same category for me. Although I loved Eminem when I was younger, I never really loved Kendrick. But Eminem's just a great lyricist, and I just don't favor his voice or his delivery. You know, and he's always mad, and I don't want to listen to that stuff. But you know, Kendrick's the same way, where it's like, yeah, he writes good, he puts good stuff together. It just doesn't sound good to me. But I never thought about Kendrick. Wasn't a thought. Like, if he dropped an album, flip through it, okay, cool, whatever, and move on. I was never like, oh, this dude's trash or anything like that.
Sure,
it pushed you towards that because you got separated. Like, you had to pick one side, right? And so, you know, that's how we got there. I mean, obviously, ICEMAN. You know, it's hard to say. It's been out a week or so. You know, there's people that have already come out and said it was terrible. And then 3 days later, like, wow, dude.
After they sit with it.
Yeah. So it's one you got to sit with, man. Obviously, like, this is the most lyrically complex Drake has ever been. You know, it reminds me of maybe something that Eminem would have done, where it's just like every line, you're kind of like pausing it and you're clicking on the lyrics and did I hear that right? What does that mean? That's a double, triple, quadruple entendre. Like, there's 50 meanings for that. And you're sitting there and you're thinking about it. And then you're like, well, who is he talking about here? Wait, maybe he's talking about this person. Maybe he's talking about this person. Crap. Well, maybe he's trying to make you think that he's talking about 5 people, and you just don't know. And so you sit on it. The longer you sit on it, the better it is. I will say too, is before we get into the individual tracks or however you want to do it, if there was a Nice for What or a God's Plan or a, whatever on here, I don't know exactly how his contract works, but generally, like if he's recording stuff in the label studio, which my guess is he's smart enough not to do that, like recording it on his own time. And obviously, like then you could debate about whose music it is. Because if you do it in the studio, so like let's say you're an artist signed to Sony or whatever, you go in to the studio, they have their producers, they have their singers, everyone's in there. Like, maybe somebody does background vocals or something, and you got to get clearance. You can't take that when you leave. You got to pay and you got to get it cleared. So if he has one of two or three of those, which he does, like he wanted to put it on there, like Too Hard for the Radio is the closest thing, but then he raps in the middle of it. If he doesn't rap, that's a radio monster, and it still might be. But he saves that, because if I'm him, like if you do what Frank Ocean did where he drops his last album and then he drops his best album the next day, like he's got to save the God's Plan 3 billion stream song for himself. Why wouldn't he? Mm-hmm. So I think he did that for people. That was one of people's feedback, was there's no bangers. And I'm like, there are bangers in a different way.
Yeah, I disagree. I think there are bangers on there for sure. I think he is just rapping. He is rapping on Iceman. It was, I'm going to put bars together. This isn't your, too hard for the radio. This isn't your radio friendly album. I'm going to put together what I've been through the last 2 years. I'm going to rap, which is what I've always wanted. And to your point, like Drake's always got the hits. He's got a ton of songs in the clip, man. Like he's got bangers that he's going to eventually release. But, I don't even know if a Nice for What or a God's Plan would even fit on this album. But you look at the magnitude of right now, that the songs of the summer are going to be Janice, Shut the Fuck Up, and Shebang, man. Those two records are out of here.
Yeah, I love them. And neither one of those are my favorite song, but they're
same.
Out of here.
Same. They're not my either. Yeah.
Janice, that flow and the way that he took that beat and made a hit on it is crazy.
It's wild, man. Dude. Yeah, I'm with you. Those aren't even my favorite tracks, dude. But I think my track, if we get into it, is going to be "Make Them Remember," which is the one that made the that leaked. What was it called on the leak?
1 a.m. in Albany.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that song.
And I love the Drake Time and Place series. So I wish there was a 3
timestamp
in New Orleans or 3 a.m. in New Orleans or something or whatever.
That was like that is the flow and that does have the feel of a timestamp record. But Make Them Remember is, and Make Them Cry. You think of it's just he's rapping.
Birdie.
Little Birdie is in this flow on Little Birdie. The thing about Drake is he can go into another style of rap when no one else can. Like Too Hard for the Radio, he's got that like Bay Area, like West Coast kind of flow. Little Birdie's like that Florida, like Kodak Black flow. Like no one else can do that. No one else can do that. You know what I'm saying? It's just his range and just in the rap game is unheard of. But Little Birdie's a banger too, man. Like it's there aren't, again, to your point, there aren't many songs on here that I don't like.
When I take off the Atlanta song, which if I had the ability to just cut Molly Santana off, I would leave it on there. And it's not my favorite. Did Drake put the worst song on the album, put Future on there on purpose? I don't know, but the song's screaming out of here. So
yeah,
maybe it's not. At first, when I heard that song, I was like, damn, he put Future on the worst song he's met. Like he's fucking with him. He has to be, but he must not be.
It's crazy because I'm the same way. And like, if I was like an A&R or whatever, I'd be like, oh, I'll leave that song off. But the numbers it's doing, it's like they know something we don't, or he knows something we don't, So, it's that, that's crazy. But Whisper My Name, Burning Bridges, Plot Twist.
I
it's
don't even know
bro,
where to start.
I don't even know where to start either. Well, you go through. I can't. It's even too hard for me right now. I do think "Make Them Remember" is my favorite song right now. But after that, I love all these tracks.
I think "Burning Bridges" is my favorite song in a minute. And after a minute 19, which Gashi texted me before I even had time to listen to it, he said after 119 is going to go viral, which is you get embodied by you know what I mean?
Singing,
where he takes he takes the flow from Meek Mill and then puts it on there and then goes at ASAP heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching a podcast just clipped through on YouTube, and I think it was Schulz and some of those guys, and they were talking about how they were like, let's figure out if Rihanna actually posted, ASAP's song. And like they go to ASAP's post and Rihanna like types in the comment like, oh, I'm so proud of you or whatever. And they're like, bro, that ain't a post, man. That's just
no, it's not a post. That's not. And let me just say the single ASAP Rocky single, Punk Rocky, was one of the worst songs I've heard in a very long time. And that album, I haven't heard, no replay value. There's a song with Brent Faiyaz that, I think, you hear every once in a while. That was okay, but that album was awful. That single was the worst single. So, I think Rihanna probably didn't want to be associated with such trash. It was bad, dog. I don't know if you even heard it, but it was pretty, pretty fucking terrible. Don't do it. It's going to be worse than anything you ever heard. If you didn't, do yourself a favor and don't. But if you want to, waste 3 minutes of your life, be my guest.
And like, I don't really care for music videos anymore. I don't know what the value is. Obviously, it's good for social media. You have content, you chop it up, whatever. Mm-hmm. But obviously, he had like 8 or 10 videos from the jump, most of which I haven't watched. For some reason, I watched the Burning Bridges video. And that one, like, for me, as a longtime fan, and like, there's a few artists that I would put in the category, not as, maybe not as, if you're going to rank them, as good as Drake, but like that are in my favorite artists that I want to hear and that I would be interested in learning about what they're doing. This is it's Soda, which he's wrapped up before. It's in Toronto because there's a Ty Domi jersey hanging on the way up, which is crazy because when I was in college at Pitt, like you have football, there's no hoops. Like obviously Pitt basketball just started to get good at that time, but there's no professional basketball team. So people love the Penguins, people love the Steelers. And I remember like, my roommate's freshman year, we would just play NHL because they had it and like they'd play it. And I'd never played a hockey game. I didn't care about it, but I learned a lot about hockey then. And Ty Domi was popular. Ty Domi was the dude that would just fight people. That was it. He was an enforcer. So I'm like, all right, we're in Toronto, which obviously makes sense with the theme of the album. But, so you go up and I've also never seen a private room in a restaurant when you're watching the video where you're going through their dry storage, you're going through their kitchen, their walk-in, and you get up to the back and then the beat switches, which Drake's the king of beat switches. It goes from the singing to the hard beat, and it's just him and his boys hanging out. Obviously, Noel's back there. Chubbs is back there. I don't think 40 was back there, but there's some other dudes that I've seen before, and they're just hanging out. They're having a good time. They're singing the song, which is I love when they do that because they're that's the way it is. Like they've been listening to these demos for however long, 6 months, a year, 2 years. Right. So when an album comes out, when you're involved, you know all the words. You're not over it, but you already know all the words. You know which ones your favorite ones are. You probably like some of the other mixes more than the one that gets put out, right? They add ad-libs or they add, they turn the vocals up or they, change something in the beginning or whatever. They call it demo-itis, where it's like, don't listen to it too much because you're not going to want it like the changes to happen. So they know all the words. So they're singing the words before the song comes out, essentially, or when it comes out, which I love because that's the way it is. Like people don't know that. But like anytime you get a demo and you sit on it, I get a song, they're recording once a week, let's say, and you get a song, you listen to it for a whole week before you get the next song. So you're not listening to any music that's out. You're just listening to these demos. And I've played some of them for you where you just listen to them and then they change. They've listened to this demo, so they know all the words. They're laughing at ASAP. They're having a fucking great time.
Good ass
and
time.
You kind of get a little glimpse of what it's like to be in, OVO or to be like a homie, just to chill with them where they have the private room. They're just eating and having some drinks and stuff. And so maybe they don't actually do that, but I know, you've seen like interviews with Drake. He actually parties like that. He always calls like these guys the married or the engaged rappers, where they go home to their family and stuff. He doesn't do that. So that was if you haven't watched Burning Bridges, maybe that's why it's my favorite song on the album. I'm not sure because you kind of connect to it and it's also good. It's also catchy and it just smacks. So if you haven't watched that video, bro,
it's great. Fire. Yeah, it's like it's funny. It's like you're part of a crew for 4 minutes. You see the memes of like, girls showing their boyfriends, like, walking up the TV during the video and putting their shot glass up and cheersing with Drake. It's hilarious, man. But it's fire. It's like it's real. And I miss the days of music video, man. Like, being able to see a visual that goes with the song. And Drake did a great job. You got to watch them all. I mean, there's one where they're really symbolic and there's hidden meanings in a lot of them. There's one, I think it might be Whisper My Name, where he's he's burning and blowing up all the bots in the computer room and stuff like
Oh,
that,
I saw that.
and
Yeah.
shit like that. So it was dope, man. I still enjoy the music video. To your point, there's no TRL anymore. Back in the day, the music video used to be the biggest thing. It used to come out with, when the single came out, the video came out, you have to watch and, wait for TRL or whatever type of, BET, Rap City, whatever, to see the video. Now it's all like YouTube, and that's how you consume, I guess, music visually. But it was dope that Drake did so many videos because, I don't know, I think they're fire. I miss the days of that. So I would agree, though. That was my favorite out of the videos, but they're all pretty dope. So if y'all haven't watched them, watch them. It gives the music more meaning to me.
It does. And it also shows that he doesn't need a budget. Like, for example, Gashy's Creep on Me video had a $500,000 budget, right? So you have French, DJ Snake, you have all the dancers, all that shit on there. It was a cool ass video, completely different. Like, it's a production, like the Hate Me Now Puffy video or the Hypnotize on the boat, right? Like, that's different than what these are. But this video is zero budget because it's someone walking in the Soda, whatever they paid for the room. They probably gave it to him for free to put in there.
Sure.
And you're essentially, it's like one of us walking up, we're holding the camera and they're cheersing us, singing to us. And that's a free video, man. They could have used an iPhone for that.
Agreed.
And no budget. And so if you're going to be independent, you don't want to waste money on that. Obviously, he did spend a lot of his own money on the rollout, but I think that's just part of him telling them, like, fuck off. Like, I can do whatever. Because
he did it. No label backing, nothing, dude. You know what I mean? Just, it's all him putting it out and rolling this out. And I mean, shit, it's out of here. I mean, it's doing crazy numbers, like you said earlier. So changing the game, bro. But I was, I thought the rollout was great. I thought the way it was executed was great. I wish it was shorter. I mean, shit, a year ago we were, saw the first ICEMAN episode, but I think he was just waiting to get it right. And it could have been at that time he was maybe thinking about releasing ICEMAN, but then it was like, I got to put 2 more albums together real quick to gather this fucking deal. And maybe that's why it took so long. Who knows? But yeah. But you heard it though. And I've heard many people say he went through many iterations of ICEMAN. And I think that might be, I think Ben the Don, who's like the comedian, one of his friends, said that they didn't want as much, they wanted rapping on this, not as much like party, like hit type of music and club type of music. So I do think, to your point earlier with God's Plan or Nice for What, I think there are a bunch of those records that he had made that are probably smashes that he said aren't going to fit on what the direction I'm going with ICEMAN. So I'm going to leave those out. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see another album from Drake, pretty damn soon. I've heard rumors. What's that?
I'm betting this
I've heard rumors.
Maybe an EP where he does like 5 or 6 or 8 or something like that.
Like a Scary Hours or something, or like even when he added For All the Dogs, like Conductor Williams, who's a dope producer who produced Firm Friends on there, which is another fucking fire track. I heard they got a lot of music together and they might do like a collab album, which isn't a collab album. It's just like Drake rapping over a certain producer's beats the whole album. But he's got music, man. He's got it in the clip, and I wouldn't be surprised if another album dropped before the end of the year too.
What's crazy is the craziest part, obviously in the beginning, I'm getting texts like, oh, this isn't even it, man. Like, this is not what we wanted. There's no bangers. And I'm like, yo, he has a song on here called Bees on the Table that UMG paid for, that they're getting paid on, where he's talking about, fuck you guys. I'm getting $2 billion right now. I'm bucking the system. I'm leaving and I don't need you. And he only has his boys on there. I guess him and Future are back, but obviously 21's always supported him. So he puts 21 on there,
right,
who doesn't do anything but say Bees on the Table, right? Because he's just like, this is my boy. Like, I'm going to rep him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Bees on the Table. I'm sure he did it like in 2 seconds on his phone. Like, here you go. And like, it's just him essentially in the middle, the dead middle of the album, right in the middle, just saying like, I don't need you guys. I'm fucking putting this out. You can get paid on it. I don't care because I'm about to get billions.
Yes. And I don't understand the no bangers thing. It's like, listen to this in your car. My favorite Drake, honestly, is like the non-banger Drake. My favorite Drake is the timestamp Drake that make them remember those, you know what I mean? With the smooth beats where he's just like flowing like the lemon pepper. Like, that's my favorite type of Drake, which is all over this album. But then you got Plot Twists, National Treasure, Shebang. You know what I'm saying? All these songs that are going to go off. that are going off. That if you play it in the car, I mean, what's a banger to you? You know what I mean? Like
So
a radio hit, No Nice for What? That's okay, but that's not like hit Drake, like YOLO Drake. Those are great songs. So that's not my favorite type of Drake anyway. You know what I
no,
mean?
and,
So,
you know, I would say so. Like I have a playlist on my phone that's like the chill ones, which are my favorite songs, which make them remember fits.
mm-hmm.
Sanders Rose, Emotionless, Do Not Disturb, Tuscan Leather, The
Yes,
Ride, Lemon Pepper,
yes,
Fuse, Western Road Flows, 30 for 30, Marvin's Room, The Remorse, Bridal Path, Champagne
bro.
Poetry, Middle of the Ocean, Away from Home.
Yes,
That's
all those
that's Drake.
tracks, all those tracks are like flawless in the best Drake, and I love that track list.
No
By the
hooks.
way,
No hooks.
by the no none. And by the way, we're gonna start putting out track lists. Can't teach Chase track lists, but I love that one. Got to add some of the tracks from this album
The
on
new
there.
joint.
But that I mean that the vibe of that is insane. You're just driving in your car at night, windows down. I mean, that's my and I love the banger Drake too, obviously. But if I had to pick, I mean,
Yeah.
that's it.
I mean, these are the ones I go back to the most. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, obviously, like some of them, like Marvin's Room's a little different, but it just hits me different,
Mm-hmm.
because of that time. Like, and obviously that was a long time ago, but like, hitting up, bitches in my old phone. I should call one and
Mm-hmm.
go home. And every time you'd break up with someone, you would like pull the BlackBerry out and like and dig through it and
Flip
like,
through.
what's that girl's number? I can't remember her name, but you would always have it. And like,
Mm-hmm.
it's real because that's real. That's what people do, you know? And that's what, I mean, those songs, I mean, dude, those are the ones that I could listen to. That's about an hour and 20 minutes or something of music. He says, you want a classic? That's just 10 of these. And that
Yeah.
is a classic. This is, 20 or whatever of these. This album is no skips, is, you know, lyrically diverse, and you have to sit on it. I put CCs on them like a titty surgeon. Is it double C's? Is it two C's? Is it the credit card that he used to
Card,
pay
right?
for
So,
it?
yeah, right. What is it? Mm-hmm.
That's one bar, and that's the whole album is like that. Where if you sit in it and you're thinking about it, like even so, I got someone to hit me up and is like Noel, like I'm Chris Kringle. First of all, Noel's the dude that is the engineer on the song, who's like his boy. Second of all, it it I don't know if this is a Kanye shot or what, and I'm not going to put Todd out there, but Noel's Kim Kardashian's middle name,
Mm-hmm.
and Kris Jenner obviously is her mom, and you know this better than me, but she's big into Christmas, and supposedly her nickname's Kris Kringle, and there was always the rumor about him and Kim with Kanye, and he's doing that. And so you can say that it's stupid, but it's so deep that like maybe that's what it means. Maybe it's just Noel's my boy and Kris Kringle Santa Claus and Noel Kris Kringle and that's it. Or maybe it is.
And the
I
line
don't
is
know.
catchy. The problem that I have with a lot of with Kendrick, it's too like I don't know. Like the line is slick, the Kris Kringle line, and it's catchy. And the thing about Drake with this album, I truly believe this. I don't think he wasted a bar. So I don't think he wasted a bar on this whole album. So I think that over time we're going to continue to catch things and figure out what some of these bars actually mean. You're like, oh shit, which is what I love about rap music to begin with. But I think Drake went into a very calculated place with each word that he said on this, and I think that he probably went back and said a lot of things. There's a lot of meetings that we're not going to catch for a while, and I doubt he'll ever probably come out and say exactly. It's just not what he does, what exactly these lines mean. But I mean, he didn't waste one. And I think every line was thought of and calculated, which is why I think this album is so great.
I think it's timeless, man. I think we don't know how great it is yet. Obviously, like there's still a narrative out there to like, make this trash. Pitchfork 4.6.
That's fucking. Pitchfork just lost all. Like I never fucked with Pitchfork anyway, but they had Ice Spice's album and they gave Sexy Red's album like a 9 or something ridiculous. Like I don't. It's just like you lose credibility, man. Like it's so insane. And there's obviously like an agenda, or you just have people that don't understand music at all, or it's like a 16-year-old kid who likes Ice Spice and Sexy Red and Yeet and that type of bullshit music.
I
Bullshit to
think the
me.
other two albums got a higher rating, which obviously like nobody would agree that they're better. That's not even reasonable.
No, I mean, you got to be
It's,
there's some weird biased thing going on there, but then you just lose credibility as a publication, and it's just
I wish we could
it's
figure out who
ridiculous.
Janice is, because there's so many different people that Janice could be.
Hmm.
And I wish I had a friend named Janice, just so I could. Well, I don't know anyone named Janice,
I
but
don't
if I knew someone named
either.
Janice, I'd be blasting them with this thing. I
Whoever
don't know
Janice
anyone.
is knows it's about her. You know what I mean? Whether that's her real name or a nickname, but Janice knows who Janice is, and I think that's something we'll probably figure out. But
What else is interesting is he had a bunch of Sopranos references in the rollout and stuff, and even in some of the other albums. And obviously, Janice is Tony's sister, and she's probably the most annoying character of all time. So there was some speculation that it was that. I wish they would have used Tony's voice though, like AI
mhm.
Tony's voice saying that in the song.
Janice,
I
shut
mean,
the fuck up.
it's
Yeah.
Janice. Hey, Janice, it's like, so that's fire. I mean, he gives us a new flow on Shebang that we've never heard before, and that shit smacks.
Smacks. That
Like,
beat is
that could
crazy.
play that in a club all day. I don't understand how you could say that's not a banger. That's a banger.
No, no,
That's a
no. And
banger,
then that
man.
National Treasure, I mean, he goes off in the beat switch. That's a classic beat
He
switch.
smashes the beat switch.
Plot twist. It's just a hard track. Too Hard for the Radio. I love him taking that West Coast beat and just, going crazy over it,
And people
showing, hey,
say
I can do this too.
they always said he steals people's flows, whether it's the UK drill rap or whatever, but he's not doing that because he's sampling Mac Dre. He's not trying to
Yeah.
steal it. He's not making a mockery or anything of it. He's
Homage.
actually paying homage to it for
Yeah.
sure. He does. He has that with Central C. I mean, I cannot listen to the drill rap at all. Gigs, Central C, any of them. It's just not me. Although the
Yeah, I've
Central C
tried.
song is kind of fire.
I do
The one
like
that he,
I do love that song, and the beat switch at the end, that Caribbean kind of beat switch at the end is fire. But I
he
agree.
does it all, man. Whether it's obviously they're talking about him like, trying to, steal the culture in Houston or Atlanta, but that's not true because he put on Future, he's put on 21, he's put on
Yeah.
all these from these places. And Alan, man, play the clip of Cole or Kendrick or ASAP saying, "Man, like I don't know where I'd be without Drake. He put me on."
Shout out to Drake. He reached out. How did that happen? I sat down with Drake in Toronto a while back when I did my first show out there. He called me up, man. We had a few drinks, and he always said he was appreciative of my music. I always been a fan of his music, and we've just been chopping it up since, man. And hit me up one day and said, you know what, handpick, man. I want you to be on this tour. And it's a lot of artists out there, man. That could have been on that tour we're doing. And for him to just, sit there and respect my music, get the same mutual respect. That's a blessing within itself. So shout out to Tristan.
I'm the only person that put on for me when I ain't have nobody was Drake. I'm talking about Drake was the first person to put on, like, before anybody. He didn't want to sign me.
Yeah.
He didn't want to. It was like, yo, that's raw talent, yo. Like, you got to shine, yo. I'm going to see to it. I forever owe Drake. Thankful.
What was the like the first conversation? Like you knew that he was trying to get at you?
I swear to God, man, the first conversation, he was himself. He said, yo, first off, I'm going to let you know I'm a real nigga, but I'm a man of my word. Basically, he was saying he's a stand-up guy. I never met him. The first conversation, he said, yo, mind you, this is a guy that everybody's well aware of. I respected him. I respect him. So it's just like, I was just like, I didn't want to believe, I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just was like, when I see it, I'll believe it. Because he's like, first conversation, he's saying he's going to take me on tour. And I'm like,
wow,
man, I don't know, man, whatever. When I met him, everything, like, before the tour, he came to come see me. He brought me out to Fashion Week. Fashion is my, like, Versace store. He was DJing, did an event there. He brought me on stage, showed me love. And this is when I was a nobody, And, man, Drizzy, man, he's good people, man.
All right,
He took me on tour. Like, I will forever be indebted to him. And it's just like, or Rick Ross, man. And when he
Ross
says,
is a
like, how many
cornball.
interviews you're going to do about ICEMAN, he's talking about Rick Ross because Rick Ross won't shut up. And, I mean, PBD has lost all his credibility. He brings Rick Ross on.
Why do you have him on the pod? Fuck,
Bro,
yeah, come on, PD.
What the
fuck?
Like, obviously, look, man, they live in Florida. Rick Ross reps Florida, even though he lives in, like, North Carolina or Georgia, rural, wherever he lives, like 200 million acres. But, I don't want to hear that shit, man. And Rick Ross, obviously, is a great lyricist, Officer Ricky, you know, but like, I mean, Drake put him on, bro. Like he's on. I mean, his biggest song is Aston Martin music, which I love Aston Martin music, but
It's a great song.
that's his
And
number
again,
one stream song, and it's Drake.
I think Ross is a great artist, but like the way he handled this whole thing is just like kind of corny.
For
And he's
what?
got an album coming out soon, and he was talking about how Drake's album flopped. Well, the numbers would say otherwise. What people are saying about it would say otherwise. And he has an album coming out in 2 weeks. He's going to look real foolish because his album isn't going to do anything near it. And I like Ross's music.
I like Ross.
This whole thing is just kind of,
I mean,
I don't know.
one of my favorite Drake songs ever is Lord Knows. I mean, that's one of the most underrated ones.
That song is insane. I love
Ross.
that song too. I love Ross, and Devil in New Dress from Kanye is one of Kanye, and Ross is on that. So, you know, Ross is great. But to say, and Lemon Pepper, of course, that's one of my favorite songs too. But to your point, I mean, Drake is versatile, and I love the way that he can switch his delivery and his flow. Like it makes it so creative and doesn't make it as stagnant. You want him to just like rap as a Toronto rapper, and taking other people's lines and flows has been done by everybody. I mean, Jay does it all the time. And I'm the biggest Jay-Z fan, but he'll do it all the time. Not because he's trying to steal Biggie's flow or line. He's just paying homage. He's done it with Big. He's done it with Eminem. Like Jay-Z has used these other people's lines, but it's a nod. It's not stealing anything. It's, you know, that's silly and stupid. People that say it don't really know what the fuck they're talking about. But yeah, Drake has done so much for so many people, and that's why I think this whole thing was wild. The whole battle and people picking the other side. And I think Drake's at the point now where it's like, you know, fuck you. Because normally he'd probably have more features on an album with people. And it was just really Future and 21 Savage. I'm not counting whatever. I don't know, the Molly Santana thing is still kind of weird to me. But those were the only two features he had on the whole album. Yeah. So, you know. But I'm glad that him and Future were ready to bury it. You know, hopefully they can make more music together. They've made great music in the past, and 21's his boy, and that was it. And he's probably like, fuck everybody else. You know what I mean? I'm not helping anybody else anymore.
Never again.
On your own. Nope.
I mean, Khaled, dude, you know, two new Drake songs or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Those never came to light, huh?
Yeah. And I mean, dude, I don't know what you do if you're Khaled. I don't want to get into the politics, but he hasn't said shit, and it's been a long fucking time. And now you can't say anything. So he's got to stay in his hole. But when you look at the body of work across his career, like I have a hard time even ranking the albums before Iceman, because it just depends on where you're at in your life or what you got going on. But like, you know, there's a chance that this one, and maybe we got to give it 3 to 6 months, is the best one because it's just different. It's like everyone said he wasn't rapping. His rapping skills are gone. He's washed. He's cooked. He's 40 years old. Kendrick, you know, bodied him. Can't do it anymore, and he drops a whole album of rap. You know, there's a little bit of melody, like Burning Bridges with the beat switch, but for the most part, it's just teeing up the rap. He raps the whole time. Everything's meaningful. To your point, he probably cut these songs, listened to him, had his boys listen to him. This bar is trash. This bar is trash. Okay, cool. We're gonna get back in the booth and just redo these, you know, 3 bars here. And like I've been a part of some of these albums where you listen to a verse and you're like, I really fucking hate these 3 lines, and they go in and they spend, you know, a session just changing those lines and trying to make them fit. And so he did that. I mean, there's a chance this one sits at the top, man.
I agree. I think it's the best this is the best he's ever rapped, man. And he hasn't really rapped straight through. I think if you're reading this, It's Too Late is probably the last album where he had rapped. And there was still some singing on that album, but the last time he really rapped, you know, this much on a project. So this is going to sit high for me because I think it's, you know, but, you know, Take Care is obviously, I think, you know, probably his biggest. It's you know, I think on top of a lot of people's, but you know, Scorpion has grown well on a lot of people. But I think for me, I just love when Drake raps, and this album is all that. So I think at the end of the day, I got to sit with it, to your point, but at the end of the day, I think this is going to sit as one of the top projects for me because again, this is the Drake that I just think that I like the most.
Yeah, the question for me is, as I sit on it, can it surpass Blueprint or Get Rich or Die Trying? I mean, obviously, like my other top albums, like Marshall Mathers LP, but I know all the words to it, and when I listen to it, it just
didn't age as well. That album though, Marshall Mathers LP, when it came out, like the lyricism on that was just like. But the problem with that now, as it gets bad, it's like it's so crazy because he was so fucking nuts. It's crazy, but like the bars and like the cleverness of that album, it was like for me, it was a classic album. Oh, crazy, Dre and like even the Eminem show was great too, but just such high level rapping. But the content's so crazy that it's hard to like. It doesn't age maybe as well, even though that's a great album. The Blueprint is one of my favorite albums of all time. Carter 3.
It can pass those maybe.
Graduation from Kanye is also one of my favorites. And then obviously, Get Rich or Die Trying was just so transcendent, man. But yeah,
was the biggest album, at least in the beginning. Massacre is the highest doing like first week or first month or whatever.
Which is wild because there's so much hype behind Get Rich or Die Trying.
That album was very good to me. It's hard when you come out with the first one like that.
That's the problem. He was never going to surpass it, so it was always going to be a letdown. And there's some good tracks on the Massacre, but it wasn't close to Get Rich or Die Trying. He never was able to capture that again. That album was so fucking big and just, I mean,
the best.
Oh, so unbelievable! Yeah,
that's how I look at it, man. It's like obviously the way that you figure out the GOAT is if you could only listen to one artist, who would you pick? And for me, that's how I figure out who the GOAT is. Mm-hmm. There can't be someone. I mean, maybe there's some. I mean, we're both sitting in Southern California at this moment, so there's probably some Kendrick fans. But could there actually be people that said, if I could only listen to one artist for the rest of my life, and maybe they love R. Kelly, maybe they love Michael Jackson, maybe Bobby Brown, Anita, Anita Baker, like going back to the kid, maybe like Cool J, maybe like. In what world are you saying Kendrick Lamar for the next 10 years?
Yeah, people love
you're
Kendrick,
going to jail. Man. You can bring one person's camera to jail.
There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people out here that would. And I like Kendrick. Wow. I think what's crazy is that they're shoving so many of these Kendrick albums down your throat, like they're classics, like Damn or something. I'm like, that's not. I just don't. But I like Kendrick. This is not me hating on Kendrick. Like if Kendrick drops another album, I will listen to it. There are going to be songs that I like, but to me, he doesn't have the range or the versatility. Like Drake has dropped R&B albums, house albums, rap. Like the versatility is insane, and there's so many different variances of Drake that if you can only listen to one artist, you want someone that has the versatility where you can, for any occasion, listen. And again, like my LA friends are going to hate me. I like Kendrick, just not as much as Drake. But
people love Kendrick like that in LA, man. I know they're supposed to.
I don't know. I think people really, really like Kendrick. I do. This is going to be an unpopular opinion for people in LA. I think that the best lyricist in LA living right now is Game. I just think he's a better rapper than Kendrick. And I think Kendrick, is very talented. Some of the voice shit is a little annoying, but I think Kendrick is a beast lyrically. Some of it's just too. For me, I think The Game is the most talented lyricist in LA right now. People are going to hate that. Maybe it doesn't make the best music because I think, production, some of the other stuff, I think just rapping. I prefer The Game as a rapper. I'm a huge Game fan, and hopefully I think he's got another album coming out here soon. So I'm looking forward to that. But people love Kendrick. And he's the king of LA. I think the year he had during the battle was so big that it kind of, and you got to look at it like this too, man. Like LA rap, that kind of brought the city to another point. Like he won the battle, it was so big, it kind of put a spotlight back on LA, so people felt prideful, because Kendrick is from the city, and LA, since Snoop and Dre, just got Tyler, but he's and people like that. But I think that it was so big that I think people gravitated towards that. But that's just my 2 cents.
So. Last question. Obviously, I think we both agree this is, there's a couple albums I like a lot this year. Bully, Killer Whales.
I thought Bully's good.
I think Killer Whales 2 is probably better top to bottom than Cole, than Bully, than DaBaby. And I think DaBaby's album's better than Cole's album. And I love J. Cole, but it's just he sung too much for me. I don't understand. Maybe he should get Molly Santana on there.
That album disappointed me a little bit. There are really good songs on that. We can get to another day. It hasn't had as much replay value for me. I haven't gone back to it as much. DaBaby
style I go to back more than any of the songs on the.
I love Cole, album. But I love Cole. But
that DaBaby, man, that's a bang, bro.
Baby,
I
Can
love
rap, man. Like, yeah, it's people don't really check for him as much for whatever reason, but
I mean, he
he's
got
a talented
canceled.
rapper. He did get canceled. I wasn't really checking for that album at all because I'm not like the biggest Baby fan, but you kept telling me to listen to it, and when I listened to it, I'm like, this is it's a really good project. And I like Cole's album. I thought Bully was much better than I thought it would be. The production and stuff on there is great. Killer
I
Whale's
want to hear some
Gotham.
Kanye and Drake, man, because Kanye does
Yeah.
so. He's the best, user of samples. Like the samples that he comes up with, man. Like
Oh,
Preacher Man.
insane.
I mean, if Drake rapped on Preacher Man too with him, I mean,
Oh, Kanye's the goat of sampling. And he's my goat producer. Just the music that he's
probably.
put out there. He's
I
my
mean, he's a
goat
lot of people's
producer.
go
But
rapper.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
mine, but a lot of people.
No, and he's a good rapper and clever. He was, I think, better back in the Graduation days, but production, he's second to none. But yeah, Killer Whales of Gotham is
Kill
a
Wheels
great
doesn't have a
project.
skip on it. They did it great. I mean, obviously there's an interlude, so there's really only 9 songs. And there's some other songs that I have that are great, but they wanted it to be no skips. They wanted it to be like not a bar skipped or
Concise.
anything. And so they narrowed it. But this one is a wider net. The cultural relevance of just what happened over the last few years and what's happening in music and how literally hip hop died. And maybe that's why Drake took so damn long, because hip hop was the number one genre for the last like 20 years. Pop music, hip hop became popping away. Rock music's dead. Like nobody, like country's big, but its demographic is it's expanding, I will say, because there was also a chance at Morgan Wallen, and Drake has a Morgan Wallen song. There's no doubt about it. He was in the video. Oh God, what song? That song's my favorite song on the For All the Dogs.
Oh yeah, I can't believe I'm forgetting that.
Close up and the girls rap.
Yeah, yeah.
So Morgan, they have a song.
Yeah,
and it doesn't get any bigger than Morgan Wallen, in a country setting. So they're gonna have. I mean, dude, there's gonna be an album that comes out where Drake goes all over the place, and he does that. But this one, man, it's big. It's culturally relevant. Hip hop fell completely off. There's no songs charting. Now he's got 3, albums charting.
It's
1,
crazy.
2, 3, bro. He's got, hundreds of thousands of dollars every like 8 hours coming in from the streams, And so I think it's going to be impossible to see where this lands. We have to wait and listen. But I mean, this might be it's
going to age well, man.
It's fair to say that it might be his best project, especially if you like his rap music. If you like those songs we talked about on that playlist, a lot of these are those, and he does them and does them well and doesn't miss anything. And obviously we need to stop, but I want to keep talking about this shit because I haven't sat on it long enough. There's songs on here that I haven't processed, even though I've been listening to this thing on our boat for 3 days in a row, straight through. But you kind of vibe to it because it's a vibe. You're not even like, you need to sit on a plane or like in a quiet room and just listen to it.
Listen to it. Yeah. Digest it. Yeah.
So
no, it's
last question I was going to ask you.
Hit me with it.
What's going to go with LeBron, man? He comes at LeBron pretty aggressively. The 23andMe bar.
I'm a real one. He's not. Yeah.
My DNA.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised to see you in that stadium or in that arena because
the more I think about it, like in his last, For All the Dogs or the last tour, I don't know if you remember, but in LA, he had LeBron and Bronny walk down with him. You know what I'm saying? Like I just, they were close, and not saying LeBron couldn't be cool with Kendrick too, but to be at the pop out, to be singing the song,
and St. Bart's with his wife and all that stuff.
I'd feel a certain way too, man. You know what I mean? That's not your friend. If I was a friend and, if you and one of my other good friends were beefing, I wouldn't be at the other guy's concert rapping along to lyrics that call you something out of your name, So
something that's crazy. It's
nasty and like dancing to it and almost laughing to it. Yeah, that's not in me, and I can see why he'd be upset with LeBron. I know Rich Paul was saying like, as adults, hopefully they can sit down and hash this out, and I don't know if I'd even be interested in that. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be. No,
Drake had him tatted. Drake had him tatted, right?
Yeah, yes. So I think at the end of the day, if you're Drake, it's just like, look, man, like I can forget. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean, and I can wish you well, but it doesn't mean you ever have to be cool again. Because if you show me that you can do that once, you're capable of doing it. So maybe you'll do it again. The fact that you're
Probably already
capable,
did, and I don't know.
yeah, the fact that you're capable as a friend would, it just, that's not a good friend, man. It's like, getting cheated on. It's like you did it, you're capable of it. I can never go back. I could wish you well, do your thing, but I'm moving on, and that's that's what it is. So yeah, man. Come on, Braun. Come on. I can't defend that one, dog. So
No, I didn't.
yeah.
It just, I wonder. I don't think I've lost a lot of friends, and not a lot, but a handful of people that I would have thought would be really good friends in the last couple of years. And I think that's okay. Like, you can.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's all right.
If there's someone that's going to do that, they don't deserve your time. Like, you know what? It's better off now because he's done it. Like, it wasn't the first time you did him dirty. It's just the first time he found out about it, or the first time it was public. And so he's doing him dirty the whole time if he's willing to do that, which is nasty for someone that you think's the real homie,
And him and Drake were way closer than him and Kendrick ever were. You know what I mean? And a real friend would maneuver like KD. You know what I mean? Who, it's just been, Steph, just, it's been, they weren't necessarily out there, promoting Drake's diss tracks, but they had his back. They're just there. They weren't going to dance like Not Like Us and stuff like that. And that's what a real friend would do. And, LeBron wasn't that.
Well, they also, I would assume, if they're actually homies, would assume that what he was saying about him wasn't true, and they know that it's not true, right? And so, like, the fact that LeBron knows that that's not true, or whoever, because there's plenty of people that did it, and they're going to sit there and sing that and promote that and post videos and shit. It's like,
I'll forever think that's the corniest thing ever. The playing that whole PDF card was just corny to me. You know what I mean? Like, obviously it got everybody singing, and it's such a crazy word that's probably why. But it's just, I don't know, that angle was always the corniest. But that's water under the bridge. But having people rap that line, imagine how infuriating that would be. You know what I'm saying? So,
dude, some of our doctors went to the Kendrick Lamar concert an hour and a half away from their house. That's how much they push this. And they're like 65 years old, man. They're not listening to this.
It was huge. Like, Shrek was, it's just so big. It was like, it was out of here. It really was, man.
My mom loves pop culture, loves Drake, Michael Jackson. She makes me go see the Michael Jackson 1 show every time we go to Vegas. She loves, Madonna, or like Anita Baker, or Bobby Brown, or whoever. Like, pop icons.
Mom knows what's up. Mom knows what's up.
And dude, I'll be sure, whatever. Like, we could go into
hell yeah.
80s, 90s R&B music, which, would take us months to digest, but talk about. But she literally goes, "Who is this guy on the Super Bowl halftime show?" No idea who it is. Like,
a lot of people didn't know.
Watches them, like, a lot of people didn't know. There are people in the stadium that didn't know who it was, and it doesn't mean that he's not prominent or that he shouldn't be liked or whatever. It was just an odd choice at that time, which we could do a whole episode on. But so anyway, they made it bigger than it was, and here we are. It got us to get the best out of Drake, though. He did get the best out of Drake. The competition and everything, because obviously Family Matters and Push Ups were the two best songs in that beef, not even close. And Kendrick's
best was Euphoria. It wasn't Not Like Us, or you know what I mean? So
that beat was just,
Family Matters was, I think, the best, and I don't think it was close. As far as a battle diss track, it was Family Matters. You can't convince me otherwise.
Yep. Well, anyways, man, I don't know what Pitchfork would rate this if they were actually rating it. I don't think they give 10s, but it may be in time a 10. Watch the Burning Bridges video, listen to these songs, digest the words, think about them. There's so many meanings in these things, man. Our first music review was kind of an unfair one because it's one of the greatest albums potentially, as we sit on it. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to leave with it, but he didn't skip one thing. Everyone caught strays. Some of them were intentional shots. Some of them were strays. And I almost feel like he did just enough. I don't know if Kendrick responds or not, but he did just enough so that you can't say that like he ignored it, but he came with it. So
yeah, he came with it and didn't overindulge or like, have to like dwell on it, but he sent shots. And, people out there, just listen to it, enjoy the music, whatever side, just listen to it. And, it's a great project. So, I think, I think 6 months from now, we'll have even a deeper conversation on this album, but, he came with it, man. This is the album of the summer for sure. So be there, man.
And next one, we'll have the finals preview for you guys. So we'll have that out. But hopefully you guys enjoy this one because we need to do a lot more of this. So appreciate your time. And if there's one thing that we all know you can't do.
Can't teach Taze. Where's she at? Where's she at? Peace.
Peace.